Welcome to Debunking Neuromyths. Left and right-brained, does it really matter? By Alfredo Fuentes. The myth of some of us are left or right-brained is something that has been around for quite some time. Sperry was one of the first scientists to start this whole process when thinking of left and right-brained. The theory states that thinking in words, sequencing, linear thinking, mathematics, facts, and mostly logic is controlled by the left side of your brain, while on the other side, the right brain mostly deals with feelings visualizations, imagination, intuition, rhythm, holistic thinking, and mostly just the creative portion. So you're either one of two options. You're either going to be left-brained, which is going to be very analytical and logical, or you're going to be right-brained, which is more of the creative and the artsy type. Our brain is a very complex organ that sits right on top of the body. It controls every function that we have. But it is divided into two hemispheres. But are those hemispheres really responsible for only controlling certain parts of our creativity or our logic? As we as educators use these information, this myth has kind of been steering how we teach our students as they progress through the classroom, focusing on the left brain students or the right brain students. Holbrook tells us that those students use every part of their brain in the learning process, and none are strictly right-brained only or left-brained only. Most are either left-brain dominant or right-brain dominant, meaning not every teaching style completely fits their learning style. This tends to be one of the biggest things that Holbrook represented inside of her reading. But it's very important to remember the point is that there is dominance and not complete dominion over one side or the other. These are some of the practices that were pushed for right brain and left brain learning. We're going to look at this in the context of actually looking at the solar system. So we have write an outline of a lesson plan on the board. Students with left brain have strengths that appreciate sequence. Again, catering to that logic. They go ahead and lecture. They love to be lectured to. Discuss vocabulary words and create crosswords puzzles. Discuss big concepts. Left brain students love to think about their discussion love to think and discuss about abstract concepts. Assign individual assignments so students may work alone. Ask students to write a research paper, and also keep the room relatively quiet and orderly. Many students with left brain strengths prefer not to hear other conversations when working on a stimulating project. The right brain, on the other hand, has a different way of absorbing the information. You have during the lecture, you can either write the main points on the board or pass out a study guide that will help the students to kind of fill in their information. Use overhead and the whiteboard and the chalkboard frequently. Since the students are apt to miss the points discussed verbally, the visual pointers will help the students see and comprehend the points. Have some time for group activities during the week. Let the students create a project. Let them be very physical with their hands and use that creative portion. Play music and then have them discuss the feelings based off of that. Students with right brain strength are intuitive and like to get in touch with their feelings during the day. And bring in charts and maps so that the students can actually see and find these different landmarks in the galaxy. But what do the left and right side of the brains actually do? They actually work in conjunction with each other. The left side of the brain controls mostly the right side of the body, and the right side of the brain controls mostly the left. They work together, and then these are the evidences that help us to work with one hemisphere being more dominant than the other. Carey mentioned this as one of his studies where they took epilepsy patients who had split brain surgery, and through these surgeries, the cognitive portion of these patients was actually unimpaired by the fact that it was split. They were still able to recognize different things on both sides of their brain. Sperry determined that the left side of the brain handles mostly analytical tasks and the right side mostly has spatial and perception. But this has been kind of taken out of context and blown up. So what are some of the missing misconceptions? It's more that we're limiting our growth. If we focus too much on this left and right brains, we start to teach very one-sided as a teacher. By combining both the left-sided brain teaching, we actually do a more holistic teaching approach, and I believe this can actually help our students grow in a much broader and greater sense. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.